AMC is closed at 295, guys. Very nice day for the buyers here. After Powell spoke, a lot of things went up in the market, and AMC has followed through with the market. Also, AMC has gained some attention, guys, with an analyst upgrade to a buy and some debt relief. Plus, the box office is showing some signs of recovery, but it still is a very volatile stock because of its meme status. And it does still carry a considerable amount of debt, but we definitely do have some positive outlook for the short term of AMC. There's no doubt AMC is starting to get some short term upside potential, but real growth depends on whether it's going to be consistently improving with earnings and managing its debt. But definitely some nice momentum with a nice jump here today, guys. That 283 holding up as nice support once again. And also some good fundamentals, some good news actually coming in with the stock. And as for the overall market, guys, today Powell has pointed out that interest rates may be cut as early as September. And what we see here is a very nice reaction from AMC, guys. So we do get that bounce at 283. That's kind of what we were looking at. That was our main target, as that's a very important spot, guys. We kind of went over that level, picked up that steam to that $4 psychological level. Very volatile move to the upside. We get a volatile correction, but we come back down and that support level holds up, breaking us out of this narrow descending range and continuing to the high. We do get caught up at this resistance once again, and that leads to a seller dominated move to the downside. But once we come down to the floor, we do end up getting that bounce once again, leading us to a test of that 324 before plummeting us back downwards. And now, since we just got back at this level, we saw a couple candles of indecision, and now today a very strong green wide bar showing that the buyers have that control at that zone once again. So short term is looking quite promising with AMC, guys. You could definitely be seeing a move back up to that resistance marker, trying to break that, where if we broke this resistance, that would be very good for the short term of AMC. All right, guys, now trending to the weekly. Yes, AMC is very beat up and manipulated at a long-term perspective, but from the shorter term, guys, we do see this double bounce. So we come down to this 238 level after getting destroyed, see a huge volatile attempt up at that $11 level, kind of come back down, chop between that $5 and $4 psychological level, and then we see a double bottom. So bottom here, get a move up, come back down, bottom here once again, leading to an ascending profile. And instead of coming back down and hitting the floor of that 260, we hold higher, find that support at 283 like we just looked at, try to move up lower high, come back down, but that spot holds up once again, guys. Then we try to find a move upwards, cannot get it, but once again holding up at that exact spot, seeing a considerable amount of buying pressure. So from a longer term perspective, guys, we want to see this resistance get broken out of. It's stemmed at this kind of back and forth of $5 and $4, more accurately around this resistance that was created here, stemming from that descending movement. And it did kind of create this pretty obvious resistance level that we couldn't break over, as price was trying to break over that a few times after that volatile attempt out. And then that last attempt over this resistance creates some newer resistance that we have been battling for some time. Finding that really led to this descending range for some time, creating that double bottom like effect, finding a lower high, but we do find that resistance once again, come back down, guys, and we still remain in a descending motion, but we find that resistance. And now we're looking for price to come back up and retest that, guys, as if we broke through this zone, that would be very nice for AMC in the short term, as bulls need some momentum here. We are very beat up on the stock, and if we could break this resistance, that will be giving a lot of momentum to the bulls in a short-term perspective. All right, guys, turning back to the daily, we see here, as we covered in the last AMC video, we saw a lot of selling pressure and sellers in a dominant position. After we got that last attempt at that resistance breakout, we saw a lot of days in a row of sellers continuing to stay in that control, and buyers really couldn't find an answer. Pretty similar to what we saw right here. Right where we see that resistance get created, we see a very similar thing happen. A lot of days in a row of seller pressure, leading to buyers trying to step in at this zone of $4, holding that as support, as it was a support in the past. Cannot do that. We flush all the way down, find that double bottom like we saw on the weekly time frame, push back up in a very volatile move, trying to break that ceiling and come back down. Now, if you guys know AMC, it's a very volatile stock, not a stranger to these big moves to the upside and downside. It can enter these short squeezes where we just see a very powerful move to the upside. It's manipulated, and this could be what we're seeing right now, with short-term nice fundamentals coming in with the stock. Yes, we are still battling the debt AMC's facing. Yes, we still have uncertainties of the company as a whole, but the fact that the overall market is looking strong here right after Powell spoke, the fact that the debt pressure has eased slightly on AMC and we are starting to get some good fundamentals in play, we could definitely be seeing and could be entering a position where we get a volatile move to the upside, retesting this resistance, looking for that break. Now, in a normal type of scenario, once we test that resistance, that'll be right below that 320, roughly around that 3 318-ish level, guys. You know, for marking that up, reasonable amount of times, we'll be battling around that 315, possibly that 318 level. So what we could be seeing here, like we saw every single time we've hit this range here, we see a nice move to the upside and quite a volatile move to the upside. Definitely wouldn't be surprised to see AMC finally get another volatile movement to the upside, trying to break through this 3.10 level, as that kind of brought us back down after testing that a couple times. Break through that, where we definitely would be testing around that 320. And once we test around there, guys, what do we meet back up with? This descending resistance. Like we saw, right? We created that. That is 1, got 2, and got 3 major kind of attempts out. If we're not counting the creation of this resistance, 2 major attempts out. I feel like this would make perfect sense that we get another retest here trying to break out, given that we have held up very nicely at that 283. The overall market is in a healthy standing, and AMC is now looking quite good for the short term. So our prediction on the channel is that we do get a continued volatile move out here, guys, and we do test this resistance. If we do get that break, it's looking very nice for a possible retest of 360 and then $4, as buyers could be capitalizing off a very nice break of structure here, breaking that resistance, leading to a continued volatile movement out. You know, if buyers can have that volume and buyer pressure on their side when we're trying to break through an important resistance like this one here, we definitely could be seeing a fast short squeeze like effect movement to the upside, possibly even touching that $4. That would not surprise me, given that this is a pretty important resistance level, and AMC is definitely no stranger to these volatile moves to the upside. And for a very long time, if we look on the weekly, we are extremely beat up, guys, right? This has been a long time since we've even touched that $4 level, you know, never mind get above that. We do see a slight ascending profile now, and I think that this is a perfect time for buyers to try to get that movement to the upside. You know, if we do reject off that resistance again, yes, that would be pretty bearish if we have a hard rejection there. At that point, you would really want to keep an eye on that support of 283 to hold up once again. If it doesn't, very likely that would be testing that 260, that being around that where we got that double bottom effect. All right, trending to the hourly time frame. That's where we see that ascending profile trying to break that 3.10 level. After we did break over, tried to solidify that movement to the upside after a bit of a pullback and just couldn't get back over it. So where we flush back down, sellers push us down to the floor, but right when we hit that 283, we do not budge. You see a nice movement to the upside, sellers try to bring us back down. Nice green wide bar showing that the buyers are ready to push stock higher, and then continue movement to the upside. And now we are in a obvious higher low of structure. Right, last time testing this zone, we did break lower than that zone before finding that nice movement up. Now we hold higher, so we are in a bit of an ascending profile from a shorter term perspective. Smaller pullbacks, nice movement up, smaller pullback, and nice movement up. We could be continuing this movement, smaller pullback, continuing to that 3.10 level, where that break will definitely propel us to a retest of this resistance, and then we could possibly be seeing, if we get that volume in play, a nice buyer movement to the upside. So that's all I got for you guys today. I think I like AMC for the short term. For the long term picture, there has to be continued good news coming in, as if fundamentals and profits keep on being negative for the company. It's not going to be good for the long term. But I think from a short term perspective, we're looking good in both those aspects, especially the technical analysis here, as the support continues to hold up, and we do see a very nice reaction from the buyers today. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know your price predictions in the comments below. If you guys want me to continue covering AMC, make sure to like and subscribe. As always, trade smart. I will see you all in the next one.